it's me, Patsy. So I've come on again because there is something eating away at me that I want to have a little rant about. Something that's made me quite cross, and something that, it's always rears its head. But particularly just lately, I'm finding it an awful lot. Last night I went to a friend's house who had a medium house to do private readings. She said it was £25 for the half an hour. It's not bad, because ones that I mainly go and see are sort of anywhere in between £20 to £40 for half hour. So I signed up and said, yeah, I haven't had a good reading for a while. I'll come along, and was really looking forward to it. Now, I know a lot of people are not believers of mediumship. People all have their own opinions. Myself, I do believe that there is people who can connect with spirit. I think I've said this on my channel many times. I've been to many. I've seen many demonstrations, some top name ones as well as local ones, some good, some not so good, and some that are totally unscrupulous in what they do, and certainly only in it for the money. And you get that in all walks of life. Do you know what I mean? Just because this is a spiritual community doesn't mean that there isn't people who will try to scam people, try to get the money for, through lies and by cheating. And that's a sad fact. I've sat circle for years. I've had classes with mediums to connect stronger with spirit, because I do connect with spirit, but there's times that there's times that I need to work on how to keep that connection and not lose it, because it can be fleeting sometimes, come and go. So I've sat classes to try to strengthen this link with them, and how learn how to strengthen it, and to try to do the best that I can for those in spirit who wish to come through with messages. So it's not that I'm a disbeliever. I mean, I am not a disbeliever. Like I say, I've had spirit myself come to me. I've seen many spirit. I've had lots of experiences, and something I do believe in totally. But I'm also skeptic of other people who claim they can do this. So I always keep an open mind. I'm not going to be one of these people who they say anything to me and I'll take, even if it doesn't fit. It has to make sense to me, and it has to follow the rules that is set out by most professional mediums. And if you went through the spiritualist churches and the spiritualist unions that is in this country here in the UK, then you need to follow certain rules and regulations, and that follow the CERT, which is CERT. The first one is connect. You make sure you have somebody you're connecting to, someone who you're feeling that strongly around you and you can connect to, and to have a reading with. And by doing that, you have to have the evidence that they give that you can then pass on to the loved one, to make sure that the evidence you're getting is fitting the person you're connecting to, and that they can take this person. You don't want to be sitting there having 20, 30 names slung at you with no evidence, because anybody can take a name. Do you know what I mean? So you need to follow be sure of who you're connecting to, have the evidence to back up who you're connected to. And then the third one, the R in the CERT, is the reason they've come through. Most people will come through with a message for their loved one to let them know that they're okay, or they see that they've done this, or they can understand, they have this message for them, whatever the message is. And then the T is to tie it all together. So that is the rules that most professional mediums will follow. That is what, if you go to classes with mediums, you'll be taught, if you go to churches in this country, the Spiritualist Union churches and the Spiritualist Union and that, and try to get your certificate and that, this is the rules that you need to follow. You need to follow this CERT, C-E-R-T. And, you know, it's all about evidence. It's all about giving evidence that fits the person that you say you are connecting to. So, the last twice I've been, and I've had this in the past, but it seems to be becoming more and more of a common incident rather than the one in a blue moon. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this for years, going backwards and forwards for years, and occasionally I'd come across one I'd be not sure about them. I think they're just in it for the money. They gave me nothing, and they gave me nothing to believe that they could even connect with spirit. But on the whole, 8 out of 10, I could say yes, there was certainly something there that I could take and gave me comfort. Now, this is the idea of mediumship. The idea of mediumship is to bring comfort to people who have lost loved ones, who are finding it very difficult, and just want to know that their loved ones are still around them, you know, still connected to them in some way. So these people are very vulnerable. A lot of people will go to a medium within sort of 6 months to a year of losing somebody. Some will try and go sooner because they're looking for this evidence that they're still around them. Now, if they go to somebody who's a good medium, who has a great connection with spirit, they'll come away feeling wonderful. They'll come away feeling that their loved ones are still around them. They will be happy and they will be content and they will just feel on top of the world. If they go to a rubbish one, they will come away feeling deflated and even scared in some cases. And this is what I'm going to go on to in a minute. And totally feeling even more lost because they always believed that, you know, the loved ones was around them, but then they're not. They wasn't there for them. So it's a thing that you have to be very careful of. It's a gift that you have to be sure you can do, and do it for the right intentions, and that is to bring spirit's voice to people who need it, who need a message, not to think, oh, I can earn myself a bit of cash doing this. And I'm finding more and more people are coming into this to earn cash. There's never a shortage of people wanting a medium, and it's the same with tarot readers too. Some people are going into it, you know, probably only had a cards a month or two, and they call themselves a tarot reader, and they're out there and they're giving advice what they shouldn't be giving. They have no right to be given. They're not counsellors, they're not doctors, they're not trained to be given the kind of advice that they're dishing out there. And it's, you know, it's another thing that is becoming more widespread as more people are picking up the tarot cards. More people are going out there giving this advice for £20 to £40 a time, and sometimes more, and they're not trained to be doing so. And we're becoming in this dangerous position where we're not counsellors, we're not doctors, and we shouldn't be given some of the advice that is given to people in readings, whether that's a mediumship reading, a tarot reading, or some other form of divination. You need to set your intentions out and your rules out before you start doing that. You know, reading for health is a no-no. They need a doctor if there's something what comes up in a spread or that they're asking about that is on the health, you know, on the health side of things. Then they need to visit a doctor. They don't need a tarot reader or a medium to tell them anything, because they're not qualified. I'm not qualified to give medical advice, which brings me to the readings that I had last night. There were 7 of us there, all going to get half-hour each, and she was charging £25. The lady whose house it was who held it got hers free, so there was actually 6 of us paying. So she came away with £150 for 3 hours, 3.5 hours work. Not bad going, is it? Out of the 7 of us who had reading, there was 2 who could kind of take what they was given. But the ones that they could take was to somebody who's a bit of a skeptic like me, even though I'm a believer, thought it was generalised. It wasn't a specific message tailored for that specific person. But I went in for my reading, and straight away she went into her psychic act, which I don't like to see, with the hands all going all over and becoming all mystical, and she was doing all this and doing all this. Not needed, love. She asked me to shuffle the tarot cards because they was a tarot reading, and I was shuffling the cards while she was connecting to spirit, as she said. And sorry about that. There's always one, isn't there? Every time I go to make a video, the phone will ring, either that one or this one. So yeah, so I was at the point where I was going to discuss this reading that I had, and she was in full psychic show off, and she gave me the tarot cards, and it was a majors only deck to shuffle, and then she tried to connect into spirit, and she threw out a dozen names at me, none that I could take. So I just carried on shuffling, and then she told me she'd brought this lady through. Didn't recognise her. It was my nan apparently, but it wasn't my nan. Then she brought a gentleman through. She said was her husband, my granddad. No, it wasn't. She said that he was a gardener. Yes, I did have a grandfather who was a gardener, but that's quite generalised. A lot of people's grandparents and parents would be gardeners. But in the garden there was a pond. No, there wasn't. And it continued like this for 10 minutes. Couldn't take nothing. There was nothing there that even remotely connected with me. There was names thrown in for good measure, which none of them I could take. And so she went to the tarot cards, and she gave me a tarot reading, you know, and that's fine, you know. She told me I was going to get over £3,000 coming in, not an inheritance, but, you know, somehow or another this money was going to be coming to me. That's great. And I was moving. She got that right. But I was moving to New Zealand or Australia or somewhere far away. Not quite right. And then she went back to the mediumship. She said that she'd got my dad there, which I have a dad in spirit. So I thought, oh, things are looking up. And then she turned around and she said, but he's standing at a distance. He doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't want to come forward and speak to you. So there must have been in his life, when he lived here in your life, you didn't get on. There was a distance between you. Didn't speak, or you wasn't with him when he died. Wrong on both accounts. I saw my dad through his final moments, and to be told by some medium that he didn't want to talk to me because he was holding a grudge because either we didn't get on or I wasn't with him when he died, was appalling. And it's me, so I knew whether my dad was there or not, and he certainly wasn't. Nor was any other spirit there. And I took that with a pinch of salt, and it was just like, oh my God, I'm just wasting £25. But if that was somebody more vulnerable than myself, needing that connection with their father, to be told that just because you couldn't connect, to say that he wasn't coming through because he didn't want to, because he held this grudge against you, it's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting that somebody could have come away from there feeling like, you know, that their father had no thoughts for them or care for them in the world. Do you know what I mean? And when I got out, and I mean, it just went on and on and on. It was just, I couldn't take nothing. Half hour of just complete rubbish. Even the tarot reading, she was on point in a couple of bits, like the moving. I think that was about it. But the rest of it, I hadn't got a clue what she was on about. Certainly not moving to New Zealand or Australia, and certainly not expecting any money of the sum of £3,000 or more coming into me. That wasn't through any kind of loss or anything, but just because somebody overowed it to me or was going to gift it to me. I don't know anybody who's going to give me £3,000 unless there's anybody out there who wants to. So do you know what I mean? It was just like, my goodness, you've made all this money tonight to give garbage to people, and then on top of that, you could be doing some serious damage to people. So when I went back into the other room with the other ladies who was having their readings, and we was all discussing what was said in ours, the same names was brought up time and time again. The same areas of the country was brought up time and time again, till she hit lucky, I suppose. And the gardener came up, the little grandma came up. But what worried me as much as anything was one of my friends who'd had it done, who's been going through a pretty difficult time, was told that she had a male figure around her. The medium assumed it was her husband, but her husband had passed a couple of years ago. But she has a new partner, and the male figure around her was ill, and he needed to go and see a doctor. So my friend was like, "Oh, is what is it? Is he going to be okay?" And she said, "Well, he needs to go and see a doctor because there's something seriously not right in his health. I don't think it's life-threatening. There may be a cure. He may be able to get help, but he needs to go to the doctor and to be checked over because it might be life-limiting." What an awful thing to tell somebody. You're not a bloody doctor. Do you know what I mean? My friend, and I said, don't take no notice of it. Don't listen to her. Do you know what I mean? She's just spouting a load of rubbish. She has nothing there in anything she's told you that has any semblance of your life. So don't take any notice of that bit. Her partner is under the doctor anyway, and he does see his doctor. But even if he had got something that come up in the cards that was, a bit, maybe you should go and see a doctor, you certainly wouldn't come out and tell them that there was something seriously wrong, like that could be life-threatening or life-shortening or anything like that. And I was gobsmacked. I was really gobsmacked. And it just made me think, my friend, again, she's been in this kind of work for a while as well. She's a Reiki healer and she does medium classes and all the rest of it. And so she could take that. Well, I say she could. She couldn't because she was worrying about it, and I could see she was worried about it. But she also knows there's people out there who's not really qualified to be doing anything like this. So she kind of, by the time she heard everybody else's readings was rubbish, she knew that chances were hers was too. But that put that seed of doubt and worry in her mind, and that's not what you go to a medium or a tarot reader for. It's not. And I know a lot of mediums nowadays do use tarot cards to do readings alongside the mediumship. I've done that myself. There's nothing wrong with that. But my reading was nothing spiritual at all. It was just a tarot reading, and it wasn't a very good one at that either. And I paid £25 for it. Do you know what I mean? But you don't know till you try them out. I'm strong enough to take it. I know what happens out there with some of these mediums. I've been going for long enough and doing it for long enough. But there's people out there who are very vulnerable and are looking for peace of mind, not to be worried about health and that their relatives in spirit doesn't want to come and speak to them because they've got a grudge with them. Spirit don't hold grudge. Spirit don't even think like that. And it made me really cross, and I thought I'd come on today and just see what other people's experiences have been. I know there's people out there who don't believe in mediumship, full stop, but it also goes with tarot reading as well. I think, people tell people things in a reading that they shouldn't be given advice on, and that's wrong too. It's not ethical. Maybe it's me, but I'd love to hear what other people think. But I was just so shocked last night, and I just had to come on here and have a little bit of a rant because it really annoyed me. Really, really annoyed me. And it's people like that who give mediums, tarot readers a bad rep, and it's uncalled for just for them to make a quick buck. Thanks for listening. Bye.